104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jason, Oranges. We're in the studio. It's Dark Side of the Stream. And
I'm having my tea.
microphone turned up way too loud, like
No,
usual.
it always just changes. Wait,
But I kind of like this version of the video.
this version of
better.
what?
We'll look at it. It's like we got the bricks now. We're not like like we could do this one.
Yeah,
or we
but
could
look
do
at them.
this one.
Oh,
I like this one better.
yeah,
Looks
but look
more
at
professional.
mine.
Anyway, this is Dark Side of the Stream.
Why am I in a
104.7.
black room? It looks
Because
like
you
I'm
get
in
your
a
phone turned up.
doorway.
It's your orientation of your phone's messed up.
If I turn it, is it going to screw it up?
Oh, let's try it out. Well, oh, yay. Look, he's figuring it out.
Wait a minute. This is a game
You
changer.
can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is Dark Side of the Stream on
now how's it
104.7 The Cave. I am Mike the Intern. This is the talent, Jay Stevens. And as always,
I'm using the mic today.
3, 2, 1. We watch movies, so you don't have to. One day we'll get it right. This week was Jay's pick. Bad Reputation came out in 2018. Basically, the biopic of Joan Jett and her life in the Runaways as a solo musician, and really just all around badass chick.
I was
kind of paved her own way, even to the Runaways and solo career,
right?
Yeah.
Because I, to me, growing up in the 80s, basically was chicks with guitars. It was just the norm, but when she was growing up, it was not the norm. There was no girls with guitar.
When the Runaways happened, it was almost as if it was some sort of a gimmick.
Yeah.
And it early on, I mean, the Runaways found success, I think, because all these dudes were like, oh, look at these chicks. They're all late teens. All right, then play guitar, cool.
All of a sudden, guys could be groupies.
Well, and that actually happened. They opened for Cheap Trick, the Ramones, Van Halen, Tom Petty. And it only lasted a very few short years, but they kind of came out pretty fast and furious.
They're pretty hardcore. It seemed like it was kind of like punk rock,
Before we get into the story of Joan Jett, though, I wanted to bring this up, and I'm probably going to get crucified for this, but I always have this sense of phony baloney when it comes to rocker chicks, because I feel like some of them, and it's probably because it's a man's world, that they feel like they have to go further than they already are, be tougher than they already are. And sometimes to me, that just kind of screams phony baloney.
Yeah.
Joan Jett to me is not phony baloney.
She seems pretty hardcore.
She's pretty hardcore. She is who she is.
New Yorkish accent or whatever it is.
I don't
give a attitude.
I don't. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She's actually from South Philly, which is even more of an accent. Actually, she probably was Ned's neighbor at some point.
Rough around the edge. She might have. Ned might have done it.
He said that, not me. So when Ned starts to come screaming in here to beat us up, you point him in Jay's direction.
Yes, guilty until proven innocent. Ned.
Yeah, guilty until proven innocent. We've heard, but yeah, I always have this kind of it's legit. You're not really a rocker chick, but Joan Jett,
she's pretty rough.
Never had that. The Wilson sisters never had that with them because they are who they are. There are other female artists to me that I'm kind of like.
How about Wilson Phillips?
And
Hold
Nancy
on for one
Wilson,
more day.
and Nancy Wilson from the band Heart.
The other Wilsons,
the real Wilsons. But yeah, I think if anything, this documentary kind of solidified that she was the real
deal.
Yeah,
pretty real deal.
She continues to be the real deal,
and
that's what we're discussing today. The real deal. Bad Reputation. Joan Jett. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream. This week was Jay's pick. Bad Reputation. Is she your favorite female rocker, Jay?
No, if I probably had to pick one, I probably would pick Lita Ford.
You pick Lita over?
Which I'm sure Lita Ford
was because you felt like Lita was more attractive?
Well, just when I was in high school, she was this rock goddess, man.
Did Joan Jett kind of scare you? A little bit?
No, she was just a little rough around the edge, maybe kind of tomboyish, and here Lita Ford was out there in lace and
closing your eyes forever,
barely clothed,
making you close your eyes
and
forever.
Rocking. I mean, not that I was a big fan of any of it either, but if I was to,
if you had to pick
to put a poster on the wall, it probably would have been Lita Ford.
Lita, okay.
Vixen would probably be a close second, I guess. Vixen.
Oh yeah. Okay, dude, don't get started on that. So We're talking about Joan Jett's biography, Bad Reputation. As we mentioned, she was in a band called The Runaways. You should definitely check them out if you're into punk rock. After they kind of fell apart in the spring of 1979, she would produce a record for The Germs, which is a pretty cool record if you haven't checked that out. But then she would try and form her own band in late 79, which took her a while. She had guys from the Sex Pistols, Paul Cook and Steve Jones tried to help her out on it. They actually did a early version of I Love Rock and Roll. If you can find that, it's pretty cool. She had a couple of the guys from X in LA helping her, but eventually I think
she partnered up with that producer who was a producer of Bubblegum.
Yeah, which we'll get to that in a minute, because that in itself is a very cool story. So she's kind of working out. I guess she put out an ad in the paper just saying she's looking for 3 good dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Joan Jett wants 3 good men.
Like 3 good men.
Side note, though, the Ken Fowley guy prior with the whole Runaways, the Ken Fowley manager guy, very interesting character. Huh? Would you say he's like the Jay Stevens of that era, maybe?
If you want to put yourself on the same team with that guy, I mean, I would almost say he was kind of a groomer at a certain point because he saw what he had, and like we go back to what we were talking about being almost kind of like a gimmick.
Work with the Who, or who did he work with?
Ken Fowler.
Yeah, Ken Fowler.
So Ken Fowler, if we're gonna look up Ken Fowler,
because I've heard the name before in that whole era, of like, and he was like the band manager guys for a lot of people. Was it there, or was it who did he work with? Was it Stones? I mean, the Who, or did you have some hand in Zeppelin?
You're gonna catch me off guard. I'm gonna have to look up this stuff.
Everybody thinks Mike knows everything.
Stupid questions.
Now that we know, he's got to Google stuff now.
Okay, first of all, I don't think the dude's name's Ken Fowler, because if you look up a guy named Ken Fowler, you're like
Ken Fowley.
Ken Fowler.
It's Ken Fowler.
Ken Fowler. Kim Fowley.
Kim Fowley.
Kim Fowley.
Okay.
Not Ken Fowler, who I don't even know who that is. But yes, he was involved in, I believe, the Runaways. He also worked with Phil Spector a couple times.
That's okay.
Paul Revere and the Raiders. Definitely worked. It looks like he worked with Gail Zappa at one point.
He was a mover and a shaker back in the day, right?
Oh, worked with Mothers of Invention, Frank Zappa.
Okay,
which is pretty cool. Yeah. Maybe that's where we came from.
I think that whole scene, that whole kind of late 70s scene, he was just a prominent player, if that's a word.
Yeah, he worked with Lennon at a certain point. He worked with Alice Cooper. He worked with
Chris Christopherson. There you go. There you go. See.
I mean, he got in and around, but yeah, I guess he was kind of the brains behind the whole Runaway thing. This again is Kim Fowley, not Ken Fowler.
Ken, if you're Ken Fowler and you're listening, we apologize for associating you with this guy.
It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode number 63. We discuss Bad Reputation about Joan Jett. Eventually, we'll get back to her on 104.7 McKay. .7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It's Dark Side of the Stream discussing Bad Reputation from Joan Jett. So let's get back to the chick.
No, could we stop for a second and comment on what you're wearing today?
I'm freezing, dude. I'm a cold guy, man. I don't know what it is about this building. Like today, the last few weeks.
Some days Mike looks like 90s rock stars, and today he's looking more like a Colorado logger.
You're always thinking about the dudes from Canada, the beer guys.
Yeah, too.
You know what I'm talking
guys,
about?
Right?
Yeah.
On the first day of Christmas,
it's a hell of a lot better than you call me Fred
beer.
Durst, you bastard.
Well, I didn't say the name. I didn't want to say the name again, but you
did. It's a trigger word for me. Can you say bastard on the air?
Of course.
All right, great.
We just did.
So this is Dark Side of the Stream. We're discussing Bad Reputation from Joan Jett.
No, not me.
So she breaks up with the Runaways in late 79. She's like, I gotta put an album out, right? So she gets together with this guy and
forms the Blackhearts. Is that what it is?
Essentially, yeah. Fowley helps her kind of get in the direction of putting the Blackhearts together. They basically, her and the producer who worked on this, Kenny Laguna, sent this out to 23 different music labels. They all are like, meh.
23 pass
Probably
letters.
could have been the whole phony baloney thing, honestly. You know, it was like, they're in the Runaways. No more chicks. It's just a chick and some dudes. Who
Yeah.
cares? Like, whatever.
But that producer's wife had faith.
Yeah. Well, so much faith that they were like, screw it. We'll create our own label then.
That's the way to do
Black Heart Records was founded in 1980, and it paid for itself. She had hits. Did the cover of "I Love Rock and Roll," was massive. Bad Reputation. Hate Myself for Loving You.
Gosh, these are hits.
Had some great hits, and did it all on her own. Had a great band that put that together. The Black Hearts really, I think, was part of the foundation of what she was able to build upon. But she was the real deal, and she put her money in her mouth and believed in herself. Luckily, she had guys that were behind her that believed in her, and girls, and it was extremely successful.
And she has a very strong draw in the female market.
Oh, very, very strong draw, which I thought was kind of funny because, you get to the whole coming out thing with her, and she's always been just kind of like, I am who I am. She doesn't make a big deal about it.
She's not blatantly
she's not in your face.
Just,
she's like, look, I am who I am. You want to allege things about me, allege things. If you want to say things about me, say things. So, it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Which I commend that, because I love people who they are, not, and do whatever you want, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Cool, whatever.
You're cool.
Yeah. And so I think that's awesome. But when this documentary came out, there was an LGBT film festival that did not want to show her documentary because she was, quote, not out. Isn't that crazy?
Well, this is like the whole. This is also like the whole thing where sometimes, like, sometimes Christian people will frown on people for not, I don't know. They get very territorial.
But it's just like, again, like, are you kidding me? Like, you're not going to show a movie just because
very weird.
She doesn't want to declare it's none of nobody's business.
Yeah, she does her own thing. Maybe she just likes herself, and that's it.
That's
like me.
Bottom line. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Joan Jett perform?
I saw her open up for it's like that whole Cheap Trick, Aria Speedwagon, Sticks around. I've probably seen her 2 or 3 times. Always tight. Always super tight.
I saw her at a very interesting performance. It was in LA. There was the Hollywood Park racetrack, horse races track. And Friday nights during summertime, they would have Friday night concerts sometimes.
So you go out there and bet on lollipops.
And you go bet on the horses.
You go bet on lollipops.
You drink. You eat. Oh shit! There you go. But you eat dollar hot dogs. And
in LA,
beers.
They had dollar hot dogs.
Dollar hot dog, dollar beer night. Get wasted, eat a bunch of crappy hot dogs, bet on the horses. Then you walk down to the end of the track at the end, and there's a stage on the grass. And this night was Joan Jett. And so we walked, and there was not very many people there, maybe 100 people there. So we're just standing by the stage, and there's Joan Jett. But boy, a very strong female presence in the crowd. And they weren't into me.
Jay went home alone. One of the only times in his whole life. Well, I'm sorry that was such a bad experience for you.
Lesson, moral of the story is, don't try to pull chicks at a Joan Jett concert.
Show. Words to live by and die by. This is Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. (104.7 The Cave). Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. We're back in the studio one more time. Dark Side of the Stream, episode number 63. Bad Reputation.
Don't give a damn about Bad Reputation.
How many Gibson melody makers would you give?
Man, very interesting.
Well, that's her guitar. Her first guitar was a Les Paul, and this is another thing I didn't get to mention in this is she said that the reason she flipped to the melody maker is because it's a lot lighter. And I love the sound of Les Pauls, but man, it feels like you're carrying around a tree trunk. They're way too heavy. Unless you're recording in the studio, dude, get a melody maker, Wilshire, whatever.
How many
drops?
How many stands for my phone am I going to give this?
So how many melody makers would you give this?
I'd give it a 3.
Yeah, 3.5.
Didn't take me anywhere really crazy.
Nothing
it was
crazy.
Just interesting I always find it interesting to find how big rock icons have made it.
Yeah, but
like
and
their
again,
path, their path.
This I felt kind of had the sense that this wasn't a warts and all documentary. You know what I mean? This was kind of like, let's just show, because there's been some stuff that have come out about some things that may have happened while the Runaways were happening, involving some members.
This could have been better. This could have been. It could have gone dirtier.
That actually has multiple reports from witnesses that, of course, Joan Jett has denied happening, but there's some not so good stuff that happened while they were in the band that doesn't put her in a very good light. And of course, that's not dealt with in the documentary at all. But again,
Well,
it's hearsay.
in all
Who
fairness,
knows? I wasn't there.
In
It
all
is-
fairness, if they made a documentary about us, they would probably hide that my weird stuff too.
Yeah. No, not if I'm involved. It's going to be like 80% Jay,
All right, well,
20%.
When I die, you can
I can't
expose,
wait.
open
I can't
all,
wait.
open the not the closet, but open the storage units of skeletons.
I feel like so yeah, I agree with you. I give it about three melody makers, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't life changing either. So
It's
next
no
week,
it's no abducted in plain sight.
no, definitely not. And on that note, I felt like Jay kind of softballed this week's bad reputation, but part because I kind of put him on the spot and made him decide pretty quick while we were on the air. So he's just thinking,
not like
it's the last documentary I watched. It's the last documentary I watched.
I think it's a guy trait. I was ill prepared for the show that happens every week. I was not ready for that show.
I didn't know it was coming up, even though we've been doing it 63
it's like
times.
When the kid tells me, hey, when the missus will say, hey, remember, you got to pick up the kid today.
Cool.
Every week, Thursday, this is what I do. But for some reason, every Thursday morning, I completely forget this.
It's like, dude, you got to go pick up your kid. So it's my turn next week for Dark Side of the Stream, and I'm going to pick the Raincoat Killer, serial killer in Korea. So we're going to get some interesting... Dude, I just keep screwing this up. I'm getting
going on
excited
Amazon.
about the Raincoat Killer. We're getting
now.
back to killers and craziness.
I'm going on Amazon right now to order a new...
Getting a new stand. Jay's gonna order a new stand. He's out of here. Of course, you can always download these as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app. You can stream them online, 1047thecave.com, and watch us on Facebook Live every Thursday, 9 a.m. If we have to remind you, we will. This is Dark Side of the Stream saying, we watch movies so you don't have to.